Hello and welcome to ThePrint. I'm here at the Jama Masjid in Sambhal, Uttar Pradesh, which was a site of violence on the 24th of November. A clash took place between the police and the public when a court-ordered team arrived to do a survey of the Jama Masjid with the underlying belief that a Harihar Mandir existed here before that. 4 people died, but no curfew was announced over the city. The residents maintain that Sambhal has always been a peaceful town, but memory is a fickle thing. This is not the first time that Sambhal has been witness to such kind of communal violence. Shortly after the incident on November 24th, I went along with the Print's photojournalist Manisha Mondal to Sambhal to reconstruct what happened and find out if there's been any such flare-ups in the past. But Sambhal is no stranger to violence. It has a history of such violence starting all the way back in 1976 when a Maulana was killed within this very masjid by a group of Hindus, allegedly during Shivratri. This particular clash led to widespread violence across the city and months-long curfew, which has left an indelible impression on the residents here of Sambhal. After 1976, there were other clashes that took place in 1978. Both of these predated the 1980 Moradabad riots that caused havoc across Uttar Pradesh and was the reason why this region came to be known as the riot belt.
संभल में 1947 ऑनवर्ड्स राइट्स हुए हैं. सबसे सीरियस राइट है वो 1976 में हुआ था, जिसमें 23 हिंदूज़ की जान गई थी.
यहाँ के लोगों के बीच किसी तरह का कोई भी आपस में कोई विवाद नहीं है. बहुत एक साथ रहते हैं, प्यार के साथ रहते हैं, शांति के साथ रहते हैं. लेकिन अब ये जो रिसेंट जो इंसिडेंट है, इसमें सिर्फ 2 दिन के बाद बिल्कुल नॉर्मलाइज हो गया रहा.
The years 1976 and 1978 sealed Sambhal's stereotype with 2 violent clashes in as many years, just before the 1980 Moradabad riots that triggered a wave of violence across Uttar Pradesh. And it has sunk into public consciousness, shaping the way that residents interact with each other, as well as the way the administration approaches the region. The fear and the fury explained why tensions came to a head this year on the 24th of November when locals clashed with the police after a team arrived to survey the Jama Masjid. It was based on a court case that claimed the mosque was built on the site of the Harihar Mandir, which is why Kalki, the final avatar of Vishnu, is meant to be born. The Satyug, the golden age according to Hinduism, is supposed to start in Sambhal with Kalki's birth. Instead, there was a clash that left at least 5 Muslim men dead and all of Sambhal terrified.
जो 24 नवंबर को इंसिडेंट हुआ था, उसमें भी मेन जो टेंशन थी वो हिंदू पॉपुलेशन को बचाने और जो मस्जिद में जो सर्वे करने आए थे उन लोगों के प्रोटेक्शन के लिए था. जो भीड़ आई थी उसका भी उद्देश्य उन लोगों को परेशान करना था, वो सर्वे ना कर पाएँ उसके लिए था. पुलिस ने अपना मेहनत और बहादुरी का परिचय देते हुए प्रयास किया कि किसी प्रकार का कोई अनटोवर्ड इंसिडेंट उस दिन ना हो. कुल 29 पुलिसमैन हैं वो इस इंसिडेंट के अंदर इंजर हुए हैं और इस वायलेंस में 4 अनफॉर्चुनेट डेथ्स भी हुई है लोगों की, जो कि बहुत ही दुखद है. लेकिन प्रयास किया गया है कि उसी दिन से ही नॉर्मलसी है वो वापस आए और पुलिस ने इंश्योर किया है कि उसके अगले दिन से स्कूल्स हैं वो खुल जाएं और नॉर्मलसी जो है अभी रिटर्न हो चुका है. इट इज़ एन ASI प्रोटेक्टेड मोन्यूमेंट. ये लिस्टेड भी है उनके ASI के उसमें. ASI ने 2018 में एक मुकदमा भी FIR भी थाना कोतवाली में रजिस्टर कराया था 38/18. जामा मस्जिद कमेटी के 13 लोगों को उसमें उन्होंने अक्यूज़ किया गया था कि उनके द्वारा इलीगल कंस्ट्रक्शन जो है वो इस साइट पे करवाया जा रहा है और 13 लोगों के खिलाफ चार्जशीट भी इसमें की गई है. ASI को इस बिल्डिंग में जो है अभी एंट्री नहीं दिया जाता है जामा मस्जिद की कमेटी के द्वारा, दो ये ASI प्रोटेक्टेड मोन्यूमेंट है. और जो हिंदू पक्ष है उनका क्लेम उन्होंने सिविल वाद दायर किया है, उसमें उन्होंने बताया है, उसके बारे में मेरे द्वारा कमेंट करना उचित नहीं है.
Now, the whole town is engaged in a memory-making exercise, from the district administration to religious clergy on both sides to the residents themselves. Some of this centers around the Jama Masjid itself and its origins. The narrative that has emerged is that Babur demolished an existing Harihar Mandir and had the mosque built in its place. But this Jama Masjid is no ordinary masjid. It's one of the oldest surviving Mughal mosques in the country. It was declared a protected monument in 1920 and has remained so since, even though the millstone of time has changed its structure. According to Mughal historians and Babur's own autobiography, the Baburnama, Babur was more interested in building gardens and studying nature than building mosques. He only gave orders for one mosque to be built, the Kabuli Bagh in Panipat, to celebrate his victory over Ibrahim Lodi in the Battle of Panipat. The mosques in Ayodhya and Sambhal were built during his time and attributed to the emperor, as was the prevailing practice. Babur had never been to Sambhal, but his son Humayun was made governor of Sambhal and lived there. Humayun passed on the reins to Akbar, and Sambhal is said to have flourished under Akbar's rule, but subsequently deteriorated in popularity when Akbar's son Shah Jahan was made the in charge of the city, according to the district's website. The website also mentions that Prithviraj Chauhan is said to have engaged in 2 fierce battles in Sambhal against Ghazi Sayyid Salar Masood, the nephew of Mahmud of Ghazni. There nevertheless is no circumstantial evidence to prove the same and is widely regarded as a legend, the page reads. It then details how Qutbuddin Aibak seized Sambhal in the 14th century, after which Sikandar Lodi declared Sambhal as one of his capitals in the 15th century. But the controversy around the mosque started when Annette Beveridge, a British translator, translated the Baburnama into English between 1912 and 1922. She inserted a footnote, a translator's note, that said that Hindu Beg built the mosque on Babur's instructions, and alludes to the possibility that a temple existed on that site. This mention isn't there in either the Turkish or Persian version of the Baburnama. However, Mughal historian Catherine Asher mentions Sambhal as the first Mughal mosque, and that the Mughal noble who oversaw its construction knew about the legend of Kalki's rebirth. This tension forms the undercurrent of communal conflict in Sambhal. However, the residents of Sambhal say the town has always been peaceful, except for the 3 years of 1976, 1978 and 1992. During Shivratri in February 1976, a Hindu man killed the Maulana inside the Jama Masjid. The shocking event led to violence and months-long curfew, which many residents still remember today. According to the local administration's record, in 1976, rumours spread that Maulana was killed by Rajkumar Saini from Petia. But the murder was actually committed by a fellow Muslim, which diverges from other records and publicly available documents from the time. It alleges that Muslims had demolished 2 temples in the area, Surajkund and Manas Mandir, in retaliation. Intermittent violence continued throughout the year, after another skirmish in April led to further interpersonal violence in the bylanes of the mosque. But the 1978 clashes were larger in both scale and duration. Living memory doesn't explain exactly how it started, but parliamentary records show that it began in a local college, when students began to fight over certain titles they'd assigned each other. The local administration said it took place around Holi, and the fighting quickly became communal and bled out of the campuses onto the streets. The situation was so bad that the violence was discussed in Parliament in April 1978, in tandem with the violence that had taken place around the same time in Hyderabad. A concerned group of MPs, led by Sambhal's Shanti Devi of the Bharatiya Lokdal and Anantnag MP Mohammad Shafi Abbasi Qureshi from the Congress, brought up the violence. The debaters are careful with their language. The phrase communal riot was only used once during the entire debate by Tumkur MP K. Lakappa. Devi said that this was the second case of communal conflict in as many years, ringing the warning bells well before the 1980 Moradabad riots. Qureshi brought up the inaccuracy of reporting. 17 Hindus were killed, while national newspapers reported the number of casualties being anywhere between 100 and 300. The question of a team of parliamentarians being sent to Sambhal to survey the situation also came up. Here's what a local journalist in Sambhal told ThePrint.
मैं साद उस्मानी, मैं जर्नलिस्ट हूँ। मेरे फादर फ्रीडम फाइटर रहे हैं, उनका सक्सेसर हूँ। आरटीआई एक्टिविस्ट हूँ और संभल के बारे में आपको इतना बताऊँगा। 1976 में पहली बार मेरे अपने होश में जो राइट हुआ, उसके बाद से हालात बहुत काफ़ी टाइम लगा पटरी पर आने में, और यहाँ लोगों के बीच में जो विश्वास की भावना थी वो बहुत कोशिश के बाद सभी समुदाय के लोगों ने कोशिश की, हालांकि उसके नुकसान भी हुए। सबसे बड़ा नुकसान ये हुआ कि यहाँ की जो इंडस्ट्री थी खंडसारी की, वो तबाह हो गई। आज तक वो सही उस पर ट्रैक पे नहीं आई है। संभल के अंदर दूसरा कारोबार मेहनता का शुरू हुआ, वो भी 92 के बाद जब राम मंदिर और बाबरी मस्जिद का मूवमेंट और आंदोलन चल रहा था, उसके बाद से वो भी कारोबार काफ़ी प्रभावित हुआ। 76 के राइट के बाद जब हालात को संभले तो 92 में जब राम मंदिर का आंदोलन शुरू हुआ तो फिर उन हालातों को ख़राब किया गया, लेकिन उसके बाद फिर हालात बहुत सही चल रहे थे। एनआरसी में यहाँ पॉलिटिकल कोई ऐसा मामला बीच में चूँकि मतलब कम्युनल नहीं था, पॉलिटिकल नहीं, कम्युनल नहीं था, कोई कम्युनल किसी तरह का नहीं था। एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन ने ही जो है वो इस मामले को मिस हैंडल की वजह से यहाँ जो कम्युनल टेंशन हुई।
The administration has put together its own list of riots, complete with specific details, the number of Hindus and Muslims who lost their lives, and how long curfew was declared afterwards. Their count stands at 15, dating back to 1936 and 1947, according to documents accessed by ThePrint. The smallest interpersonal conflicts are recorded, even if no one died or no curfew was declared. The present local administration puts the number of casualties in 1978 at 184. Even Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath talked of the 1978 violence, citing the same number of Hindus dead. However, the Varshney-Wilkinson dataset on Hindu-Muslim violence in India between 1950 and 1995 by political scientists Ashutosh Varshney and Stephen Wilkinson has only 4 instances of communal violence in Sambhal, the largest being in 1978, with their reported number of dead at 16. The Varshney-Wilkinson dataset, which pulls its data from newspaper reports, doesn't mention 1976, possibly because a clear number of deaths haven't been reported. Ashutosh Varshney, the Sol Goldman Professor of International Studies and the Social Sciences and Professor of Political Science at Brown University, told ThePrint that there were only 12 riots between 1950 and 1994 in which over 100 people were killed, and Sambhal doesn't figure in them. Most of these riots took place in large cities like Bombay, Hyderabad and Ahmedabad, with the exception of towns like Aligarh and Meerut. 100 dead would be a massacre, according to Dr. Varshney, who has studied and written on riots across India.
संभल में 1947 ऑनवर्ड्स राइट्स हुए हैं। सबसे सीरियस राइट है वो 1976 में हुआ था, जिसमें 23 हिंदूज़ की जान गई थी, और उसके बाद में भी कई बार छोटे छोटे इंसिडेंट्स पे फ्लेयर अप हो जाती है टेंशन्स, लेकिन पुलिस और प्रशासन ने समय समय पे काफ़ी मेहनत की है और हिंसा को बढ़ने से बचाया है।
But this narrative stands in stark contrast to the lived memory of Sambhal, which is home to a Muslim majority and a Hindu minority. Many in Sambhal say the situation on 24th November could have been avoided. Local Hindus sing songs about the legends of Kalki and Harihar Mandir, while Muslims in Sambhal continue worshipping at the mosque and worry about its potential demolition. Sambhal has also been rediscovering other Hindu temples in the area. And for the Hindu community, it's important to survey the Jama Masjid and see if the Harihar Mandir existed there before it. Mahant Rishi Rajgiri, one of the petitioners in the court case, is the priest of the nearby Kaila Devi Mandir, located just about 20 kilometers outside Sambhal. This is what he told us.
हाँ, मैंने गांव में जाता हूँ, लोगों के साथ मिलता हूँ तो कहानियाँ सुनी, और मेरे जो बुजुर्ग संत थे वो भी बताया करते थे। हाँ, सबकी सुनी और अपने हृदय की सुनी, और गुरु महाराज ने और कैला मैया ने प्रेरणा दिया और हमने केस डाल दिया। वो तो सब छोटे थे, जब से सोचते थे कि कभी केस फाइल करेंगे, मौका लगेगा तो हरिहर मंदिर को मुक्त कराएंगे। ये तो बहुत बचपन से ही सोच रहे थे। संभल का महत्व वेदों में, पुराणों में बहुत महत्व है। वहाँ अवतार भगवान का हो चुका है, यहाँ होने वाला है। भगवान कल्कि का अवतार हरिहर मंदिर में होगा। पुराण वेद सब जितना भी हम लोगों का अध्यात्म सर्च है, जैसे आप लोग सर्च करते हैं, पत्रकारिता में आई भी हो गई है, तो जो हम लोग उसमें अध्यात्म ढूंढते हैं, पढ़ते हैं, लिखते हैं, खोजते हैं, तो जो मिलता है उसके आधार पर संभल में जो कल्कि भगवान का अवतार होगा वो इसी हरिहर मंदिर में होगा, ऐसा हमने लिखित दिया है। हमारा जो ये डिसीजन है हरिहर मंदिर को मुक्त कराने का, ये कोई राजनीतिक नहीं है। ये गुरु महाराज से प्रेरणा और कैला मैया की कृपा से ही हमने किया है, इसमें कोई राजनीतिक नहीं है।
This is Vandana Menon reporting from Sambhal for it.